Matthew chapter 17. And after 6 days Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Then answered Peter, and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face, and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them, and said, Arise, and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man, save Jesus only. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you, that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed. For oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart, and said, Why could we not cast him out? And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. And while they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, The Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him, and the 3rd day he shall be raised again. And they were exceeding sorry. And when they were come into Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter, and said, Doth not your master pay tribute? He saith, Yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children, or of strangers? Peter saith unto him, Of strangers. Jesus saith unto him, Then are the children free. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, and cast an hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up, and when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. That take, and give unto them for me and thee. I don't have a lot to say about Matthew chapter 17, but it does have a few interesting things that happen, like when Jesus goes up on the mountain and is transfigured, and also Elias, who we find out later in this chapter, even though it's hinted at a few times earlier in the Gospels, it's hinted at that John the Baptist is Elias, but Jesus comes out and says it in verses 11 through 13, that John the Baptist is Elias. And it's interesting when Peter says that he can build tabernacles up on the mountain, and also that Jesus continues telling people to not tell anybody about it. And he told them to, for a specific time period, don't tell anybody about what you just saw here. So that's interesting. Just a random off thought though, but I wonder if the humility of John the Baptist and the fact that he didn't want to admit, or maybe he didn't think so. I wonder if part of him thought that maybe he was Elias, but you know that there were people out there looking for There were people, just the way that people were questioning Jesus, I'm sure that people were thinking similar things about John the Baptist, like, who is this guy out in the wilderness preaching? And so yeah, that's just, I wonder if he had an idea about it, or if he found out way later that he was Elias. In this chapter, I don't know if it's the case. I don't like to pretend like I know why God would do something or why Jesus would do something, but it almost seems like Jesus is getting tired and frustrated at this point. I don't know, frustrated, maybe just, starting to get tired at this point, when he says, "Oh, faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I suffer you?" And I don't know, I'm really tired at this point. I'm just ready for it all to be over, so I can only imagine how tired and ready for all this to be over God is at this point. But I trust the timing. I have total faith that God knows the best time to end it all. But I feel similar, that I'm suffering every day to make it through this generation. A few more interesting things that I wrote down. The verse 21. So somebody was unable to be healed by Jesus' disciples, and he says it was because of their unbelief, and then Jesus mentions the importance of prayer and fasting. And I just know that this is, you could fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure that this is one of those verses that the NIV, it might even leave that verse out. I don't know. There's a few verses that the NIV just totally leaves out, but I know that there's multiple instances of certain translations of the Bible, the NIV in particular, I know it removes talking about fasting. And fasting is just something that's really, really powerful and underutilized. And I can say that for myself too. I should probably fast a lot more. And prayer is good. It's really great. But you should definitely fast too. The last note I have is just mentioning what happens at the end with the fish and the money in the mouth. And it just makes me think of, I wondered how many instances there are just like that didn't get written down. I bet a lot of stories just like that happened, that they just didn't have the time to write it down, or it just didn't feel like it was the right place, so it just never got mentioned. And just an interesting event. And kind of interesting that stuff like that gets written down next to a lot of people demanding signs from Jesus, because I'm sure that Jesus was doing a lot of things like that too off to the side. Like, to me that seems like an obvious, that's a big sign. Like, no, a regular person can't do anything like that. And so that's just what I noticed. One, Jesus probably did things like that just weren't ever mentioned in the Bible. And to me, it seems like that's the kind of thing that seems, besides the healing people obviously seems like a sign too, to me. Like, these people were getting mad at Jesus for healing people and claiming that he was using Beelzebub to heal people. And I don't know, there's just something different about doing something so extreme, such as go and catch a fish and open its mouth and there's money inside of it. That obviously seems like a really big sign. Anyways, that's it for this video. God bless everyone.